Katawa Shoujo Character Trivia. Emi was the only major character to undergo a redesign after the first release of the Act 1 demo. Emi is the oldest of all the romanceable girls at 19 years old, even though she looks the youngest, which is because she was held back a grade due to her car accident and the rehabilitation afterward. Emi is tied with Lilly Satou for having the most H scenes in her route, at 3 each. Emi is possibly the shortest character in the game. Hisao Hakamichi may be shorter, but he has no official height. As an orphan, Hanako is a ward of the state. The government pays for her enrollment at Yamaku. Hanako appears more outgoing in Lilly Satou's route than her own good route, though this is understandable as the elapsed time of Lily's route is longer than Hanako's. Hanako is reading Life of Pi when Hisao Nakai first meets her. Later, she and Hisao discuss a book series that appears to be Frank Herbert's Dune. Hanako is the only main character whose theme, Painful History, does not play when Hisao first meets her. Instead, the song Everyday Fantasy plays. Rin Tezuka points out that she saw Hanako go to the bathroom a few times in a row. This might be a reference to a Japanese urban legend of a young World War II-era girl named Hanako-san who haunts school bathrooms. A small picture of a woman holding a baby can be seen in the CG that shows Hanako's doll collection. It's possible this may be a picture of Hanako and her mother. In addition to the doll Hanako was given last year for her birthday and the one she receives this year, she also has a large stuffed penguin that can be seen in her bad ending CG. In the beta version, many of the details of Hanako's backstory differ from the final release. Instead of living at an orphanage, Hanako lives with foster parents. Before their deaths, her parents had bought her a stuffed rabbit named Petra. It was the only item that survived the fire. She still holds onto it as a memory. The fire was started by unattended candles during a blackout. Hanako's father saved her by getting her out of the house before it collapsed. She is afraid of the dark. One night, Hanako is not in her room and is in Lily's room, who isn't present, due to a broken nightlight. Hanako indirectly caused the death of someone she had romantic feelings for. During the confession, she ran away, but the boy ran after her. He was hit by a speeding vehicle and killed instantly. Hisao's eyes differ in almost every CGI. Link to his image gallery in the description box if you want to see. Hisao's personality develops differently between routes as Hisao tends to adapt to some of the girl's characteristics. Different devs have given different answers when asked about Hisao's birthday. It's either April 1st, April Fool's Day, or January 4th, the day the Chaos Project actually began. According to a fan poll on 4chan, Kenji is the most liked secondary character. Kenji's black hair, round glasses, and red and yellow scarf gives him something of a resemblance to Harry Potter of the Harry Potter series, with the scarf being similar to those provided to students belonging to House Gryffindor. Lily shows a discreet liking for alcoholic drinks, especially wine, which makes Hisao Nakai suspect a tendency towards addiction, possibly due to other senses, such as taste, compensating for her blindness. After Hanako Ikezawa's party, Lily keeps all subsequent alcohol consumption low to avoid getting drunk, calling the birthday party a learning experience. Lily is the only character with 4 distinct outfits: school uniform, pajamas, cheongsam, and casual townwear. Lily tied with Emi Ibarazaki for having the most H scenes in her route, at 3 each. Lily is the only character with a scene after the credits. Despite being blind all her life, Lily is never seen cross-eyed, which is a very real problem for the visually impaired. Lily identifies as Catholic. In early drafts of the story, Lily played the cello. During development, Lily had 2 other sisters, Leanne and Adrienne, but they were dropped before any scenes for them were written. In the beta, Lily was originally going to be half South African instead of half Scottish. Rin is the only pursuable girl with noticeable tears on her sprites near the end of her route, aside from Hanako Ikezawa. Rin's birthday is the same day Aura wrote his first text about her. The second unlockable main menu picture shows Rin in the pose of the Venus de Milo. Rin is from Osaka. Some assume Rin suffers from some degree of alexithymia, a personality construct characterized by the subclinical inability to identify and describe emotions in the self. This is evident in her inability to identify her own emotions and the emotions of others. Fun fact, I have alexithymia myself. A note within the source code, A Wilder Field of Vision, the beginning of Act 2, Disconnect, reveals some insights on how Rin's dialogue was written. I've been playing around with different styles for her to somehow communicate her state of mind through dialogue style. Currently, and this seems to be the final solution, there are two distinct modes. Whenever she's in free-form stream of consciousness blabbering mode, she uses awkward grammar badly and has extreme trouble with idioms, sayings, and figurative speech. And she talks in short sentences, many of them in sequence. Oto, when she pulls herself together and becomes overtly lucid, she starts talking without contractions and uses way more words per sentence than necessary to communicate whatever might currently be swirling inside of her mind. These are not hard and fast rules, more like general guidelines, thus legibility and smooth flow of text always overrides them. Edit as you see fit, really. Before the game's full release, there was much speculation among the fanbase as to Misha's disability. Many assumed she had a fatal condition, most likely cancer, and would die during Shizune's route. In the full release, Misha either has no disability, Yamaku Academy accepts healthy students, or it is not revealed. Many speculate that she has ADHD or a similar condition due to her personality. That does sound likely. Another conjecture is that she has an inner ear problem that affects hearing and balance. She has never learned to ride a bike, has trouble on the stairs, and has trouble kissing Hisao, and is apparently oblivious to how loud she is. I'd say she's all but completely oblivious to it. Coupled with being proficient in sign language, this could mean she knows she will lose hearing as she gets older and is prepared for that. However, it's worth noting that her issues with stairs was only mentioned once as an excuse, and at no point in the story was she ever shown to actually have issues. One of the devs stated that Misha's disability was a broken nail, which is obviously meant to indicate that she has no actual disability. It is unknown whether or not this is canon. There is a theory that her parents sent her to Yamaku because of her homosexuality, believing that it is a disability. Ain't that just some wonderful parental love? Nickname is derived from her real name when written in standard Japanese format, Mikado Shiina. The devs have admitted to naming her after Hannibal Lecter's sister, Misha, only character outside the 5 main girls who has a H scene. In the beta version, she commits suicide after being heartbroken over Shizune and Hisao's relationship. In the good ending, Shizune and Hisao deal with the trauma and consider naming a child after her. In the beta version on Hanako's true route, she is hinted at meeting Emi in the art room whilst looking for Rin. This led them to do secret things, and closer to the end of Hanako's true route, go back to finish. It is further evidence that her parents were homophobic since they did not attend her funeral in the beta. Her hair is not naturally pink. It was originally brown, but she dyed it so she would stand out. Only romanceable character who does not cry during Shizune's route, not even in the bad ending. Neither Shizune nor Misha discuss Hisao Nakai's arrhythmia problem, and the closest comes in Slow Recovery, Act 1, when being short with Misha when he gives some hints about being hospitalized in the past, but nothing else. Shizune wears a watch on her right wrist, but it is never shown in-game. It has golden hands and is described as delicate. In-game actions hint that Shizune is capable of reading lips, but this is never confirmed. Shizune refuses to throw things. Misha says that Shizune never makes wishes. The reason is unknown, but Shizune appears to be embarrassed about it. Shizune can snap her fingers so loudly that Hisao describes it as cringe-inducingly loud, the summit. Shizune has functional vocal cords, able to make sounds, but is mute. In the early drafting stages of the project, Shizune was given the name Rosa before it was changed to Shizune a few months later. As always, please rate, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. Feel free to come join me on Discord. Consider backing me on Patreon. And remember to stay chilled.